Hi, Mike here. In this video we're going to focus on the map elements on the Mission Manager map screen. Map elements can either be drawn by you on top of a map or will appear automatically based on data that you enter on other Mission Manager screens. If your team uses APRS or a Mission Manager enabled smartphone application, other real-time data can also appear on your map, such as team locations, team tracks, vehicle locations. Even clues can be fed in automatically. Team tracks like this one here could either come from a smartphone app that was feeding data real-time into Mission Manager, or you can upload tracks from a GPS device on the team screen. Now that we've talked about some of the automatic things that appear on map, let's talk about how we can add map elements manually with the drawing tools. The drawing tools are listed in this row of buttons in the lower left. The first button that's selected by default is the Map Navigation Elements Edit mode. When this button is depressed, you can navigate around your map as well as edit any things that you've drawn. We'll cover more editing once we've added some things to the map. The next button allows us to place a marker on the map. A marker is an important location that you want to save for later. To add a marker to the map, simply depress the button and pick somewhere on the map, and a marker will appear. You can change the marker's icon by clicking on this little icon over here in this list. You can also change the marker's color by selecting here. And you can change the marker's name by typing in a new name here. You can also change an object's label by clicking on it. When you do, a little pop-up will open. The object's label will appear here, and you can change it just like you could over in the Elements list. And you also have a much bigger field where you can type in more information about this marker. As with all the elements that we're going to draw, since Mission Manager is web-based, anybody who has access into this mission will be able to see what you've drawn on the screen. Now let's draw a path object. The way we do this is select the next button in the list, draw a path on the map, and then we can start clicking points where we want to put the path. Each point we click will be a point along the path. Whenever we're done, simply double click and the path will appear. Just like the marker objects, we can change the color by selecting here, the name here, and we can single click on it to change the name here again, and we can add notes of more detail. For path objects, you can also change their line width and their line style. The way you do this is by selecting this button here. A little dialog will pop up. You can adjust the width here, as well as the transparency, and you can also change the line style by selecting one of the styles over here. Now let's draw an area type element on the map. The way we do this is select the area button here, and just like the path, we just start clicking points. And as we do, we'll see the area start to appear. Whenever we're done, just like the path, just do a double click and the area will appear. Now just like the path objects, we can change its line type, line style, and line width. We can also change the label here, and just like the path object, we can open up the little pop-up dialog to add more information. Before we draw the next two types of elements, let's cover editing what we have so far. With the Edit Mode button selected here, when we hover over, say, this marker, the cursor changes to the arrow cursor. This means that we can simply press the left mouse button and drag it around to a new location. When we hover over the area, we get little nodes at each corner. Simply by pressing the left mouse button on one of those, we can adjust that edge. The same thing on the path object. We can grab and move these nodes around. Now if we wanted to delete a node on a path or an area object, the way we do that is we simply hover over a node and press the D on the keyboard, and that node will go away. Make note that some of the nodes, such as the ones in the middle of the segments, those are not actually there until we actually drag and move it around. So only the brighter nodes can actually be deleted. Also note that you can move entire objects, such as path and areas, by holding down the Alt key, pressing the left mouse button, and dragging those objects around. Also note that you can only edit objects if this editable checkbox is checked up here. When this is turned off and I hover over objects, I don't get any of the edit modes anymore. The reason for this is if you were navigating around your map a lot and you didn't want to accidentally edit something, you could click this off and objects will not move unless you turn this back on. While we're looking at the options up in this area of the screen, let me go ahead and cover the labels option as well. The labels button will turn on and off the labels for all your map elements. This can make a map that's very cluttered. If you have a lot of information all in one spot, you can turn those off to clear up your map a little bit. Let's take a look at the next type of map element, a circle. Circles are often useful if you wanted to identify a range of maybe where a subject could have walked within a given time, or an evacuation area if you had some sort of a hazard. We simply select the circle command, and just like the marker, we just click somewhere on the map and the circle will appear. Now in this case, the circle comes in by default of a half-mile circle. That's a little large, so we don't see most of it on the screen. Let's change it to 300 feet. Circle command understands feet, yard, mile, meter, kilometer. You can pretty much type in any distance measurement and the circle will be drawn the appropriate size. You can also change the circle's line type, line style, line width, and color by clicking on the different buttons over here. Now that we've got several objects on the screen, I want to point out what happens each time we hover over each one. When we hover over the area, that area's square area is shown in the lower left corner of the screen. So for instance, this particular area is a little over 23 acres. This path is not quite a quarter-mile long, and the area of this circle is about not quite 5 acres. This makes it really useful when creating team assignments, so you know exactly how long or how large of an area that you're making the assignment for. Let's try the next type of element, a pie. So we simply select the pie button, and then just like the marker in the circle, all we have to do is click a point on the map. Now in this case, the default comes up to 3-mile radius. Let's change that to something smaller so we can see it on the screen. Let's go with 150 yards. And then we'll see our pie object. Pie objects are very useful in that if you knew you had a subject that was maybe had gone a certain direction and you want to not use a circle but you want to use a pie object to kind of estimate where that range might be. They're also very useful for cell phone tower pings. Often a cell phone tower ping will give you a quadrant, which is a direction, and a distance from the tower that the ping actually happened. So in this case, let's use this as an example. Let's say that we had a cell phone ping that was going to the north from a tower that was 150 yards away, and we wanted to estimate that the tower has maybe a 20-yard accuracy. So we can do that by adjusting the width here to say 20 yards. And the pie now changes to an arc shape. And what this will identify is that is the probable range to where you might find the person with the cell phone that was pinging off of that tower. Let's cover the last button down here on the row of options down here. If I select the measurement tool, this allows me to draw on the map, but what I draw basically won't stick. It's like drawing a path that will give me a distance measurement. So as I draw this, if you look down in the lower left corner of the screen, it's giving me a length in meters, feet, kilometers, and miles, as well as a direction. Not only a direction in degrees, but a direction east-northeast, and so on. When I'm done using the measurement tool, just double click and it'll stop drawing. Next, let's look at some of the options that are available over in the map elements list. Any of the map element groups, these sections here, can be opened and closed by pressing the little button in their title. You can also turn things on and off by simply checking the little checkbox next to the element itself. Or you can turn on and off entire groups of objects by using the checkbox in the parent section. You can also delete objects by using the delete key next to the actual element itself. Or you can delete an entire section or a group by using the button in the actual group itself. So let's say we wanted to create a new group to say maybe keep all of our marker elements in, or elements that were related to a particular section of our mission. We can do this by pressing the new group button. A new group will appear, and then we can simply drag objects into that group. So let's say this was a group for our markers. Give it a name. Let's add another marker, and let's drag that marker into this group as well. Now, because they're in a group, we can turn them on and off together. We can close up that section to hide it, to make more room over here in our map elements list, or we can delete the entire group all at once. That about covers it for this video. Check out some of the other videos on the mapping screen and other parts of Mission Manager, and thanks for watching.